Hi guys, today we have a new moon in Gemini and I'm going to be talking a bit about the astrology and also doing a spread to see what to expect, what the energies will be like for the next month. So new moons set the energy for the month and the aspects and combinations describe what's going on. So firstly, with the sun moon at 9 degrees Gemini, it's making an aspect here to Mars and Jupiter in Aries. Now this Mars-Jupiter conjunction in Aries is extremely important right now. It's it's a 12-year cycle. Jupiter takes 12 years to go around the zodiac, and so it brings in a whole new cycle for productive growth. And with Aries, this is all about pushing forward our own personal desires, where we want to apply ourselves. It's very independent and creative sign. It's also a very entrepreneurial sign. So, whether we're wanting to create something more for ourselves than working for others, or just where we're wanting to expand and grow to do with our own personal growth. So, with this, Aries also represents the first ray in esoteric astrology, and the first ray is about the destruction of the old for the creation of the new. They are the master builder, and they can see what needs to change, what's not working. They know where, they're the creative force that wanting to implement new things and to pull down what's no longer constructive, what's no longer working, and to bring in this new energy of what's going to be much more productive for the future. So we've got a real double dose of that with Mars, the natural ruler of Aries, sitting there, and Jupiter really expanding and even exaggerating those qualities. So with the combinations, I'll just give you a run through on what they are. So the sun moon, I'm looking at the midpoints here to the sun moon, which should be very important because the sun moon is the whole highlight of this talk. Jupiter Uranus is the first midpoint. Now Jupiter Uranus is all about releasing it's a sudden release, it's sudden good news. It can read as like good fortune or final release of a situation which has been sort of a bit tiring or a bit hard. Sometimes it can relate to situations in family where we're wanting people to agree or get on, wanting to just resolve situations. And so it's a real release, a resolve of, it's not about dwelling on the past with Jupiter Uranus, it's all about moving forward into the future. And so at that time, it's like, well, let's just forget about the past and get on with it. So that's very complementary. Mars-Uranus is the next combination. Now, Mars-Uranus is similar, but it's about applying ourselves rather than just bringing the sudden luck or relief. It's sort of saying the actions we have to take to apply ourselves. So where we can have sudden good news, the next thing to happen will be the sudden application of effort or the sudden application of will. So your desire will go, yes, I want this, and your will kick in and make it happen. Then we have Saturn, Neptune. Now Saturn, Neptune isn't quite so active. It's more saying, can we do it? There might be fears around it or there might be concerns. Saturn, Neptune, though, is very much about looking at where our values are, where we sit with what is right, where we want to dedicate ourselves and how purposeful, what we're doing is. So the aspects with the sun, moon, like I said, to Jupiter, Mars, we have the midpoints here of moon, Pluto. And moon, Pluto is all about the deep subconscious force. It's an extremely productive combination, but it's coming from a deep personal desire, almost like a subconscious pull towards a particular objective or particular goal. It's also, Moon Pluto is very deep psychic work, very strongly connected to our senses, to our sense of knowing and understanding, and to our soul. So where we feel this deep pull, it's something in our soul that tells us this is what we have to do, even though it may not be, make sense or be practical or be what others want for us. So with that, we have the moon Pluto, and then we have the sun Pluto. And the sun Pluto doesn't care what other people think. It's just going to push forward, and it's a driving force. It's about taking more power into your life. It's about being able to express yourself in a strong and powerful way. And with the Sun Pluto to this Jupiter Mars, this is like sudden advancement. Excuse me, can come. Sudden opportunities for new direction and opportunities to put our energies into more productive things is going to come, and it really is going to be more empowering and a lot more satisfying at a lot of levels. So, it gives, it's also the attainment, like, working consciously towards certain goals, and also the realization of new ideas. Uranus node is also connecting as a midpoint to this Jupiter Mars, and Uranus node brings in sudden changes. Uranus is sudden news, sudden information, things coming in unexpectedly, and it's also insight and strong intuition. The node is all about connections and people, so can be a bit of a restless time to do with people, but it's also about like sudden coming together of people for productive growth and for new plans and big plans actually, and sudden changes around relationships, or sudden changes in your work circumstances around the people you're working with. So it's sort of time to get stuck into your deep desires and your passions. Mars will kickstart us into action, and Jupiter will bring us the luck and success with positive focus and intention. So, this is also with the Moon Pluto driving this. It's sort of, again, like I said, it's subconscious patterns. It's going to be an opportunity to look at, clearing past patterns or behaviors from past experiences. It's giving us more understanding of who we are and what our specific desires, objectives, and goals might be. So we also have a midpoint happening here, a direct midpoint, and it's going to be definitely more relevant in for the first week of June. And our direct midpoint is, it's quite simply you have two planets, and if there's a planet sitting exactly in the middle point of the two planets, well, that's a midpoint. That's called a direct midpoint. Then we have indirect midpoints, and there that point will be making an aspect. But looking at the direct midpoints, which is extremely relevant and important to look at, we have a Mercury-Uranus to the node. And again, this is confirming sudden news and sudden information that's going to come out that is going to be really influencing and affecting others. So it's all tied into this Mercury node, and the notes I've taken on that. We have sudden or surprising news, the turn of events, changes brought about by others, cooperative effort, working on new ideas together with others, or common or joint plans, associations for a common purpose, like-minded connections, business or social contacts. So it's a time when we can sort of expect the unexpected, especially when it comes to information coming out, through others. And it's going to be a time when, there's going to be a lot going on, a lot of information, it's just going to be a time when people are going to be getting together to share common interests, common goals, and, like I said, maybe lifting us up through information that they give us into new situations or new positions or even more security. So the next combination we got going on at this time, because it's such a mercurial time right now for this new moon. It's meaning Mercury is being aspected in many ways to lots of different combinations here, and we have Mercury Pluto, and so this is a good flow in communication where we can reach higher levels of consciousness. Because the reason I say that is because it's trine, and because trines are very powerful, but they're an easy flow of energy, and Pluto really sets us into this deeper understanding, or this deeper pull of our deeper purpose. So this can also represent information, news, communication, or ideas that can determine our fate or our direction. Plans on a large scale, the ability to convince others or influence the masses through speaking or writing. And, Mercury Pluto relates to all forms of media, also political arena, or those that believe to be an authority over us, that are there in the forefront, giving us information. Mercury, Pluto, really to me it's saying there's an important message or important information coming out about your future direction. It's also the ability to transcend certain ways of thinking, as in set ways of thinking. So, and because we've got Mercury sitting here in Taurus at the moment, which is a fixed sign, and then it's trining to Pluto, and Pluto's it's trining Pluto, and Pluto's in Capricorn, and Capricorns are quite focused in their thinking, but sometimes they're not going to sway their thinking easily. So it's interesting that there's this persuasive energy going on, but also the fact that this can transcend our set ways of thinking. So where we may have been being stubborn or refusing to see certain things, it's going to actually give us the opportunity to start to look at things from a different perspective. Mercury Saturn, so this is the only square apart from the Saturn node. So Mercury Saturn is all about more challenges within our communications. The squares are, of course, not as easy as the soft aspects, as the trines and sextiles. So they're more of a challenge, but they do actually create a foundation. They are very, very useful, and they're very important in sort of establishing something for the future. So the squares are sort of what we work on, where we put our energy more as well, where the trines are just what flows easily or what we're natural with. So, Mercury Saturn is quite a serious approach to things. It's, it can create difficulties and frustrations in communicating with others. It represents being thorough, being discerning. We can choose our words carefully, or we may need to choose our words carefully at that time. We exercise caution. We may feel that we can't move forward, during this time. So, it's not saying that we can't move forward, but we just may be looking at the blockages or the things that are actually in the way of our forward movement. So it's a problem-solving combination, and we can use practical methods to really problem solve with this, because it's a very practical combination. Also can represent truths, difficult or undeniable truths, hard truths. Some people that are being too truthful, if you like, because it's very direct and honest in communication, and it's, does sometimes require a bit of diplomacy, but at the same time, we've got all these other combinations going on to Mercury here that I just think information cannot be held back during this time, and where we're going to be getting sort of exciting news coming in through our social connections or our soul connections. We're going to be having to nut out how we can actually do this. Do we want the commitment? It's going to be, one area, but the Mercury Pluto is really the plans on a large scale, and this is where we can transcend our fixed ways of thinking that, we're actually not sure whether we can take on these opportunities or not. So that's Mercury quite well covered, I think. What are the other aspects? Anything else I need to cover before I do a spread? So, of course, I think I've explained, how we are, aligning ourselves with productive energy. Again, going back to the Sun, Moon with, the Jupiter, Mars. These are probably the most important combinations that I've covered here in this. It is a time. Oh, that's something I wanted to say. Was Saturn is actually, it's stationary, about to go retrograde. So when Saturn does that, when it slows down to go retrograde, or when it slows down to speed up, it can be quite a karmic time. It can be a time when a lot of the energies of Saturn are sort of at a real high peak. And Saturn always says, what have you been doing? Have you been good? Have you been putting your energy into the right things? Because you will be rewarded, even though you felt that you were never going to get any, get rewarded for this, because Saturn is a lot about time, perseverance, and age. And as we get through Saturn, it sort of gets easier and easier because we develop patience and perseverance. Saturn gives us the opportunity to look at our goals, our direction, where are we going to. It gives us the ability to go, this is what I'm going to put in place to set myself up for this. So it's looking at the bigger picture, not in a optimistic Aquarius way where, if I win Lotto, this would be fantastic. It's looking at, well, if I apply myself, if I work hard, I will reap the rewards eventually. So with this Saturn retrograde, it's almost a, it's like the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot. It's a karmic time where the wheel starts to change. And so, like I said, with those that have been working hard and thinking, when am I going to get a bit of a break? This is most likely going to come in around this time. For others that have been not, doing quite the opposite and sort of receiving more than they should be for not much, they could have a little bit of a wake-up call and go, okay, how am I going to solve this problem or this situation, because it was working for me and now I'm going to have to readjust to things. So, like I said, it's a karmic time, good and bad. It can be a bit of a struggle, but quite often it's, and even if it's putting you in an uncomfortable position, that doesn't mean that this is what that you've done something wrong here. It means that your uncomfortable situation is something that you've created for yourself and you're actually wanting to be shifted into a new situation because you've been desiring that, even though you're not wanting to let go, Saturn. You actually are truly desiring, new productive growth, Mars, Jupiter, and this is where you really want to see yourself. So just release the Saturn and allow it to happen. Don't hold on with Saturn. Saturn's all about releasing but knowing what it is that you're needing to release. So what else? So Mercury is going to be going direct on the 4th, and it's going to be really moving forward on the 9th or 10th. With these combinations that we've got going on, there seems to be a lot about, changes, moving into new circumstances. I also think there could be a lot of looking at agreements, signing of new contracts, going into new situations, either with family or with soul connections. It could be to do with assets. It could be to do with career. So it's a good time to look at that, but important not to really sign anything. Weigh everything up and have a good look at it. And you really want to start, looking at anything, especially when it comes to the signing of and the stepping into new projects or even the initiation of new situations. You really want to be looking at that after the 9th, 10th of June. So with all this information coming out, I really feel there's going to be a lot of changes going on here, a lot of changes for people, a lot of changes in the way we do things as well. So yes, this is saying that there's a sort of going a bit deeper, more of a serious look, or going inwards, really a soul-searching time for some here to find what their true fulfillment is. Now we've got new energy showing here, and this new energy is about to happen. It's sort of showing in the past position, and of course the spread is for the new moon, for the energies of this month. So I would say this is about to happen over the next week or two, where there's going to be some new news or information, quite exciting news, which is actually going to be bringing a lot of people more joy, a lot of people more opportunities, and also more freedom. It is going to be a time for healing past hurts. Like I said, sometimes we can take people the wrong way. Sometimes we haven't been patient enough to understand their position or their side of things. So I feel like this is a time to heal the past hurts. This is a time where we, as a people, are coming together, and we have had quite a time where we've almost been divided or pushed apart. in our way of thinking or in our way of seeing the world, well, this is definitely a time of coming together. So any difficulties that have been going on around family circumstances for anybody, this is a time to resolve those situations, and also feel that also through family we're going to not only be resolving situations, we're going to be brought into much better situations through family. So when I say family, this can be soul family, this can be people you consider to be family, but I'm talking about family situations, those that you feel extremely comfortable with, those that know you well, and there seems to be some great opportunities and offers being brought around those strong soul connections to you. So this is going to be a time of, again, looking at security and looking at making decisions with others. So with all this Mercury node going on, it's not surprising I'm seeing sort of, again, family situations, but more like where the husband and the wife or the partners are having to decide or make decisions together relative to changes. And, so whatever changes or whatever brilliant realizations that we can have, which is also the theme for this month, is these sudden sort of, if we go deeper and look at it, we can have these real strong realizations of where we're wanting to be, but also what's holding us back. So instead of us being able to just do this and go, okay, this is what I'm doing, it seems to be that a lot of this productive energy is all about with others. So we're going to have to discuss this with somebody else that is needing to agree as well. So this is about partnering with others, or what we do as partners, or what we do as a couple, or what we do as two business partners, for instance. They both have to agree on a certain direction or situation, just as a couple would have to agree on whether we're wanting to bring a child in, or what to do with children, or so forth, or whether we're going to make a move. So this is all about the interaction and the plans with others. So it looks like a time where we can extend our abilities, where we're going to get the opportunity to utilise more skills. So I see everybody has latent skills, and not everybody gets to utilise their skills. Not everybody gets to recognise their skills. Some people have been maybe put off certain things in their life through being told they can't do it, or some people just are too busy in their careers that they've sort of neglected other areas where they're very talented. This is a time where we're going to get to, really do what makes us feel good, and really do what feels innate to us. Now, sometimes these innate skills, I see them as past life abilities that we maybe haven't touched on yet. And that can sometimes be activated at an unconscious level through just being around somebody that we connect to from that lifetime, or it can be through physically going to the particular location of where we were that lifetime. In this case, I feel like this is just going to be activated naturally. It's almost like universal divine intervention going on here, helping people to shift up a notch to really recognize what's right for them. So anybody who's prepared to listen or open up to their inner guidance, this is going to be a really, really strong psychic time to do that, as well as with the Saturn, problem solving time. We do have reasons to want to go and do an inner search to see, is this direction that we're going in right for us, or are we, should we step into something quite new? And that's really where we're going with this, with the outcome. It looks like people are going to be really looking at where they've been limiting themselves, been limiting their skills and even their opportunities. It's a very karmic time with the Saturn, interestingly enough, for looking at more career than anything else, actually. It's a very karmic time for what we're meant to be doing. And the karmic, when I say karmic, even fated, in the sense that we could be thrown into whole new situations. Now, these situations will be relevant to what we're in alignment with, what we do anyway. Of course, it's not going to be something that we haven't been putting our energy into, but it's almost like we felt held back, and we have so much more to offer. This is going to be the breakthrough. But I think firstly, recognizing that we've been held back is probably the first step. And I'm going to lay out some more cards just because I feel like that I'm being told to, because we've sort of come to this point of Okay, where have I been held back? So, and then karmic energy comes in and sort of presents new situations again through soul family. And like I said, soul family can be somebody that you knew at work that you didn't even have much to do with, but that just seems to come in and be part of your bigger changes, be just presenting an opportunity for you. But that may be their purpose. That may be relative to good deeds done in the past. That may be what your contract is together to just come in for that particular purpose. So when I say soul family, it doesn't have to be your best friend or the person you hang around with the most. It could be anybody. So yes, security, of course, is going to be part of the theme for this. And of course, we have so much going on in Taurus, which is all relative to our property, our assets. But absolutely a whole new cycle for money and career, and moving those that are meant to be in certain positions will be moving forward into new positions and making those changes during the next month. There also will be like this team effort, or where you can choose to be working together with others. So I feel that when I'm talking about security, property, home, investment at an investment level, there could be situations where family are helping others to buy property, or they're bringing them into a project that's going to be an investment for the future, or they're bringing them into a new workspace. Now I say family again, again, this is all being reconfirmed as soul family here in soul connection. So but this can come, like I said, it can come through friendships, it can come through even acquaintances at some levels, because sometimes some of these soul connections you may not have developed yet. This is just the start. So it's a great time for new love as well. It's a great time for connecting up with a soulmate for this next month, for certain people that have been looking or preparing themselves for that. And for those that are already, really comfortable in their situation and their relationships, it's going to be a good time for new growth and a good time to look at what they can do together at a financial level, because we've got big changes coming up here. And I'm going to show you the cards in a minute of the outcome. It's quite substantial, and it's 3 major kind of cards. So before we get to that, there is again a lot about communicating here. It's important that we listening to each other, but it's also important that we sort of are getting on board now, because I think that where there's been indifference, where there's been disagreement, where there has been like one side just does not see the other side's perspective or position, that I think is going to start to change. I feel like there's a lot of rifts that have happened that in the past here that are going to be healed during this time, and I feel that it's a good time to forgive and to release and to move on, because of all this productive energy. There's so much more we can all be doing together. So reconnections is also going to be important. When I say reconnections, if it's someone you haven't seen because you haven't been agreeing, that's all. Like I said, I feel like there's some resolve going on there without too much effort, really. It's just something that's happening through this natural order of things. Also seems to be some good news. There's good news around money being distributed, some legal news going on here, and a lot of generosity. And I sort of feel like there could be some legal changes around money or around taxes, or it could just be that everybody's getting their rebates. But there does seem to be some sort of financial handouts going on here, but it is sort of about what is fair and what is balanced. So I'm not just saying this is everybody's going to be handed money. It seems to be where money has been needed, where people have had money sort of taken from them, or it's been held back from them. It's going to be coming in as this comes back into balance. So again, this is a month for, and I want to go into July as well for some reason, because I have actually carried on a little bit because it was getting really interesting. But I sort of want to take this spread up to, I think, about the middle of July. I don't think any longer, but of coming together of groups, of people, of connections, like-minded people, but for a particular purpose, and it's just something really big is coming in where to do for humanity, actually, to do with people and groups and activities. Now, I don't know quite what that's about, but there's a lot of money invested in this, and it does look like this is very fortunate and very productive. So it's harder when you're reading at a collective level, but people will, I'll just say this, people will have to get together in groups and in teams and team effort to bring about more abundance. Now, I'm just going to leave it at that. These things will make more sense in hindsight. But again, this is confirming a really productive time for those that are wanting to develop the skills. Like I said, there's a lot of innate skills that have been wanting to be expressed. People opening up more to their psyche and more to their inner connection. There does look like some will be quite keen on training, new upskilling, new learning, or even being, self-teaching themselves new ways of doing things. And there's also going to be quite an increase in smaller businesses stepping up. When I say smaller businesses, I use the Empress for that, and she represents those nurturing type businesses, those businesses where we are creating with our hands in some cases. So this can represent cafes, restaurants, even for those that are quite happy to be taking care of others. And so new learning and new growth coming in there. But I feel like for those that have been suffering because they have had a small business and they have been relying on a service or hospitality, that's all coming into a whole new level. And believe me, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to get out and enjoy those comforts and luxuries again. So the outcome, it's going to take a little bit of meditating on there. The outcome is about big change. It's about a whole new way of thinking, being, that is going to be so much better for the planet, for the people. This is where things have become out of alignment. I think things are literally going to be, something's coming completely out of balance or alignment with what is with the natural order of things. And when I say the natural order of things, I'm talking about whether it's nature, whether it's where we're placing our values and our intentions. It just feels like this is going to be really, really shifted, literally blown out of the water. So let me explain. There's a lot of very good things going on this month, and it is going to be quite a high energy time. It's very strong energy for Uranus, which is going to have us a little bit unsettled, and Mercury going on there. We're going to be thinking or overthinking or trying to adjust to certain changes or circumstances. So because we all have, it looks like most of us are going to be having quite exciting information coming out, exciting news, opportunities for change. This could leave us feeling a little bit unsettled or a little bit uncertain. We have to weigh up whether this is going to be valuable. But we are entering a whole new time where the energies that have just been outworn and are really, it's almost like things that haven't been working for a long time, and where certain situations have exhausted themselves. So again, I just want to say with energies, so anywhere where it's like things we've been waiting for change, and change seems to be taking a long time, it's going to come in really hard and fast, and it's going to bring in this whole new energy, and this energy that is so much more beneficial for humanity. But because of this, there could be some circumstances for some people could be quite stressful because this change is so sudden. And it also is a time when we don't want to get caught up when too much with this Uranus node energy, too much drama or too much excitement. Well, excitement's good, but too much sort of hype. But we have, with these three cards here, we have this. The Tower brings the end of its change. It's like, okay, things have just come to a head. And, you know, it's like when the death card gets ignored, the Tower kicks in and it goes, okay, boom, this needs to go. Change. Now the star represents change, but the star is also like a new it's a new vibration. It's a much higher vibration. So, and the Hangman is all about hanging up the material to connect with the spiritual. It's very much connected into the service industries. It's all about wanting to make a difference in the world, feeling that, you know, you have a true purpose here, and that you're reaching that fulfillment by following your soul and providing a service that is beneficial. So, you know, quite interesting. 3 major arcana cards up the top here. Now, the first spread, of course, you know, we were just in this place of frustration where things are starting to change, and I think this is a lot to do with monetary situations and opportunities around career. But bang, when this comes in, you know, this is what we are being set up for. We're being set up for a bigger change here. And, you know, what it's saying is that if you're really sick of the way things are, this is a time where you can change your life, where things can feel more valuable, more beneficial, and certainly more peaceful. But change doesn't happen easily. You know, it's about, like, if you're in a bad marriage and you really think, you know, the only way I'm going to get peace is to divorce, you know, it's like you may find that this is going to be the time, or you find that you can transform the relationship to a much more peaceful situation. So of course it's going to be up to you to look at, you know, whether this is something that you can grow from or not. But with this here, like, you know, if it's the work that's not making you happy, yes, it's going to be bang, you know, gone. Work's gone without you even before you've handed your notice in. If it's the, you know, relationship or the home situation make you unhappy, again, it's just going to be, really something quite new coming in that's going to feel so much more purposeful. But with those 3 cards here, this is absolutely divine intervention. This isn't anything that you have any control over. And so I feel that we're just getting in a place where we're needing to ground ourselves, where we're needing to feel a bit more secure, so that we're ready for the bigger changes, so that we can step into these fantastic opportunities, you know, and step into what we're really here to do, because we are in quite a pivotal time here on planet Earth right now, and I feel that there's going to be a calling for a lot of people to really step up and to really find their own true happiness, so that that energy can generate out into the mass consciousness, if you like. So it's going to be a very stimulating, exciting, and interesting time ahead, you know, with a lot of this mental activity and a lot of this sort of this mercurial energy, you know, and Uranian energy. You know, I think it's going to be time to keep the nerves calm. We're going to need to be grounded constantly, and, you know, great time to be taking good levels of magnesium or having Epsom salt baths just to help us relax and trust, because I think relaxing and trusting is a huge part of this. So I did do a spread on, just find it, on my chakra cards. Now the chakra cards are really cool. They include astrology, houses, and also the chakras. And so I just pulled 9 cards for that. And the spread, this was really the advice for us for this month ahead. And the air chakra was the first card that came up, and that's all about listening to your guidance, because our air chakras are where we connect into our higher mind, where we listen to our higher selves, our spirit. Then we got the renewal card, and this is all about Vesta, and Vesta is bringing in this new energy, because it's when things get tired and we're needing to really be replenished. The Mercury card also came up, which is relating to detective. It's relating to receiving the message and listening to the message. So it's an important time to be listening to our guidance for information that will come forward for plans or for plans through spirit or through higher self. And it's going to be those plans that we've thought about or focused on in the past, because we're still in this Mercury retrograde and we're still looking at our past situations. So it's saying also to trust, let go of any regret, release the past experience, have faith. Also, that research may be needed for further direction, because we've got the Scorpio detective card here. Look into situations more deeply, or go within to find and release blockages or patterns of behaviour or experience. And then we have the Aquarius, Earth, and Pallas Athene sitting at the base here. So it's all about, finally through the use of your personal will and independent mind, you can begin to manifest long-term goals or desires. So that seems to be the theme. It seems to be all about what our desires are, our long-term goals, big plans coming in, big projects, depending where we're sitting with things, how much we're holding on to things. This is an opportunity to let go of what no longer serves us, to release what our belief systems are around our material values or our own personal values, and to trust that the universe is looking after things and bringing you into really where you have been desiring certain outcomes. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again. Thanks, guys.